Hey everyone, Matt Donner here, back with another breakdown. If you're watching this, you probably just finished watching my breakdown on Madeon. Talk about a little bit of a difference here where Madeon has a ton of complexity. In a way, the song I'm going to do today is much more straightforward, at least with respect to the chords and the writing. However, the arrangement, not so straightforward. Today we're looking at RAC. We're looking at a song called I Still Want to Know. Guest singer, Rivers Cuomo from Weezer. Fuck yeah. And I brought it into Logic, played with it a little bit, and started breaking it down. Not so much in terms of the chords. Again, I'm not really going to do this in terms of chords or melody or bass line or drums. We're going to look at the song from a more macro view. More often than not, when people are booking sessions with me and trying to do one-on-one work with me, one of the big questions that comes up over and over and over again is I'm kind of stuck in the arrangement phase. I wrote this really cool thing. I don't know what to do with it. I've gotten it to about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and I just don't know where to go with it. And I think today, when we look at the song, it'll prove a point that I usually go back and say to them, which is, well, maybe you haven't written enough. So if you don't have enough material in your writing phase, in your creative compositional production phase, you might not have enough material to make the arrangement work. And as we'll look at this song, there are at least 3, maybe even 4 or 5 ideas going on in the song that provide RAC a lot of material to make the arrangement work. He's also made some very interesting decisions with respect to the arrangement, and I think that's worth digging into, and so that's what we're going to do right now. So just to give you a little backdrop, one quick side note, I recently updated to 10.13 in macOS, and a couple of things broke when that happened. One of the things that seems to have broken is Soundflower. I'm struggling getting all kinds of weird issues with Soundflower, so I went out looking for a new tool to capture audio from just simple computer-based playback and get files out of it. And so I found this thing called Sound Siphon. Maybe you're already familiar with it. If you are, awesome. If you're not, look it up. Sound Siphon, S-I-P-H-O-N. There's a free version. There's a paid version. Right now, I just am working with the free version because I'm just digging into it, but it worked beautifully. It allows you to set a source from a piece of software, hit record, captures the audio directly to your hard drive, and then you can just have it and do what you want with it. So I've done that. I've taken the track in here and real quickly just conformed the track to a fixed 128 tempo. Just to make it a little bit easier. And when I say easier, what I really mean is counting measures. It's something that a lot of people don't like to do. Some people do it consciously, some people do it unconsciously, some people don't do it at all. It's an extremely valuable exercise in the arrangement phase. Even if you just find yourself listening to other songs and just counting measures and figuring out how many measures makes this section, how many measures makes this next section, how many measures makes this next session. The more pop-oriented, the more vocal-oriented, definitely the more you want to do this. There are some basic rules, one of which is you want to stay in a multiple of your meter. So if you're in 4/4 time, you want to keep things to 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar, 8 bar, 16 bar increments. 12 maybe, 13 certainly not, 5 not, unless there's a reason why you want to do 4 and then an extra 1. More often than not, I find people do that accidentally as opposed to intentionally. So a couple of things that I've done here in Logic. Number one is here on the arrangement track. If you're in Logic, then you might already know about this. If you don't, there's a neat little button here. You can show and hide. And when you show and hide, you have access to various other things. So I've taken some notes. In the marker lane here, I've made some notes for myself and for you. But here in the arrangement lane, I've actually sectioned off the song in little other visual markers. They're not called markers, they're called arrangement markers. And this is to really help you kind of visually line up the ruler, the timeline, the measure count, and then the song form. Now, in essence, this song, I Still Want to Know, Rivers Cuomo as vocalist, RAC the artist. Remember, RAC is also a remix artist and a DJ, so if you've seen videos on him previously in Pyramind, this is kind of the other view of him as an artist. And it's interesting because there are some decisions here that I think make sense for him being a DJ. It's kind of a pop form, but it's kind of not a pop form. And so the standard pop form tends to be intro, verse, chorus, maybe a bridge, maybe a breakdown, maybe something else, and then a bunch of chorus on the out, and then you're done. So that's essentially what's going on here, but there are definitely some moves that are different and unique, and we're going to dig into them now. If you're not familiar with the song, go listen to it. I'm going to play through various sections here and go for it. One of the first things to recognize here is that if you look just at the arrangement breakdown, let me actually get us a little bit more real estate here. You'll see I have the song starting on measure 3, just because there's a little intro lead up here. So in measure 3 to measure 11, this intro is 8 bars, verse is 8 bars. I have this thing called the pre-chorus. The hell is a pre-chorus? A chorus, an intro, sort of. Notice this intro is half as long as that intro. And then we've got another verse, another pre-chorus, a bridge. I thought the bridge was supposed to come after the second chorus. Nope, not here. A chorus, a post-chorus. What the hell is a post-chorus? A solo, and then a breakdown of the bridge, which is different from the other bridge. So if you think of it, he's got an intro idea, a verse idea, a chorus idea, a post-chorus idea, a pre-chorus idea, a bridge, a second bridge, and then a solo. That's a lot. Now, the good news is that they're all fairly self-similar, so it doesn't sound like 9 disparate ideas, or even if we call it 8 disparate ideas, it doesn't feel that way at all. The 2 bridges are definitely a departure, and the choruses are a slight departure, but the intro, the verse, and the post-choruses are very, very similar. So before I hit play, I just want to give a little background. Number 1, things that I listen to help me define when sections are changing. One of the rules is, does the melody change? That's often a clue. How many instruments are being introduced or removed, if any? The instruments that stay or show up, do they do a behavior that's vastly different from the behavior that's already going on? Do the drums change their pattern, change their rhythm? Are there crash cymbals? Are there fills? Something to tell me, hey, this section's ending, the next section's beginning. And I think in this song, we're going to take a real good look at the vocals themselves, because most of the work in the sections has to do with the vocals, okay? So he's following a lot of rules, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, sort of. The sections are mostly of even length. The drums are very consistent all the way through. So if we're going to listen, we're going to do a lot of listening to the vocals to get some clues. I also listen, of course, to bass motion chords, whether we're in major or minor, to give me a sense of what the mood is of the section. So let's start with just the intro. And I'm going to set up a quick cycle here. And for the police on YouTube, just let me tell you, RAC is a friend of ours. He said, go ahead and do this, so please don't shut down our video. So here is the intro. This is 8 bars in a loop of the song, and we're going to listen, identify what's happening, and then kind of mark that down, and then compare it to what's happening in the next section. Okay, a very basic 2/4 backbeat, very basic all the way through. The chord progression or the bass progression here being delivered by the bass and the guitar is a 1, 4, 5, 1, but it just doesn't get more major than that. Okay, so that's pretty much all that's going on. There's a little white noise swell at the end to let you know, hey, maybe this section's ending, something's coming up, and then at the end we get a prelim of the vocals, right, and we just hear Rivers' voice. So that's what's going on in the intro. So think major, 1, 4, 5, simple, simple. Now, if we move our cycle to the verse, let's see if there's any difference. Obviously, the vocals turn on. That's one thing that turns on. What else changes, if anything?
Are you with me? There's so much more to explore. What makes the stars shine and the vines climb? I still feel kinda unsure. Got it.
Okay, basically the same thing. So the verse and the intro are basically the same, except halfway through you hear a little tinkly chorus guitar turn on, sort of slowly, and at the back half yet another guitar turns on, and then the bass hits the 6th minor note. So the first half of the verse and the second half of the verse, not the same. Okay, that's a very good and big clue. Within a verse, within an 8-bar, within a 16-bar section, if you turn on 1 or 2 little differences between them, to me that doesn't feel like a section change. It just feels like you're adding to the section you're already in. But when you start hearing 3 differences or more, maybe that's a clue that the sections have changed. From the intro to the verse, really the only change is the vocal. So you could argue that it's verse 1 without vocals and then verse 1 with vocals. You could argue that. I'm calling it an intro because it has no vocals, and then it does have vocals. Simple enough. So if we now move to the pre-chorus, you're going to find that the 6th chord is very important. So now we had a 1-4-5 in the intro. Now we have 1-4-5 ending on a 6. And what do we have in the pre-chorus? And is this really even a pre-chorus? So we start on the 6, and then 4, then 5. So the progression is different. Is this different from the verse? Is this a different section? Are there 3 changes? 1 is we have the buzzy guitar in the background. 2, the bass and the guitars are now doing 6-4, 4-5, so that's different. And then listen to the vocals. Where he was originally doing kind of doing this major line, and now he's right in now, and A, it's a different line. B, he's starting to repeat himself in shorter phrases. That's a clue that we're accelerating towards some other juicy part of the song. Now the argument is this a chorus? My opinion, no. It doesn't feel like a chorus. A chorus is the big payoff. This feels like tension. This feels like setup. But when analyzing songs, one of the things that's interesting is when you're looking for the chorus, you tend to listen for, well, is the title of the song in there? Because a lot of times that's the way it goes. The title of the song here is I Still Want to Know. Do you hear it in this section? Right at the end, still want us. So to me, that might be, oh, well, maybe this is the chorus because he's kind of throwing in the title. It just doesn't feel like a chorus to me, which is why I'm calling it a pre-chorus. And if you go to the next section, that's why I'm calling this a chorus. Although, frankly, I'm going to back it up just a measure so we can get a little lead in. Normally, in a chorus, you're going to hear the title of the song, and variations of the title of the song. You're just going to hear that over and over and over and over and over again. Not here. It's a very interesting decision to not have the big repeated sing-songy vocal in the chorus. So here's the end of the pre-chorus where you get the title, and then the chorus, sort of. Okay, is this a chorus? The section before it ended with the vocal that speaks the title. This section ends with the vocal that speaks the title. Are they both choruses? Is one a chorus and then this isn't? Was that not and this is? I'm not sure, and I think it's a little less important that you call something a pre-chorus or post-chorus or a chorus. That you really just think about the energy of the song. Is that where's the big payoff moment? And to me, the pre-chorus is a build-up. It's sort of half a verse building tension. This is very clearly a different section. The whole rhythmic structure is different. The vocal structure is different. We get multiple vocals. He sings up higher. The drums and bass tend to feel like they're pulling back. It doesn't feel like a chorus, does it? At least not to me. I called it a chorus, and I'll show you why later. But it doesn't really feel like a payoff until the very end when you get the title of the song. And so now what I'm going to do is skip over to here and just give you a little bit of the end of the chorus and into the intro. I got a little note here. Note says chorus, but no beat. Why? Whenever you pull the beat away, that creates tension. It kind of makes a pause, makes a moment of freeze. And that sort of move is done often later in the song in bridges when you want to break the tension down or break the energy down, create tension, and then re-deliver the beat so it feels impactful. It feels very early in the song to do that move. But here it is. So, This is the end of the no beat chorus into the intro, which is already kind of the verse. Now, did you see how short that was? The intro over here is 8 bars. This non-intro intro over here is 4 bars. Why? Because I've already given it to you 8 bars over there. I don't need another 8 bars. Let's get it down. Let's get through. A little break from the vocals. River, take a quick sip of water. Go right back to singing. And now we're into verse 2. Verse 2, same as verse 1, different words, same length. Okay. Pre-chorus, same as pre-chorus 1, same length, roughly. In fact, exactly. And now let's go looking here, because earlier we had an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, and then a chorus. And then a short intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, and then we expect a chorus. But we don't get it. We get this bridge thing. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit out from here to here. And let's take it halfway through the pre-chorus and see what happens.
Filthy rich up and down in a ditch, but I still come back for more, 'cause I still wanna know. Wanna touch, wanna feel, wanna taste, wanna heal, wanna turn at the wheel. Yeah, I still wanna know.
Is this a chorus? Sure doesn't feel like a chorus either, does it? Again, he breaks the energy down. Before we had an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, break down the energy into the chorus, if it's even a chorus. Now here we have the verse, a short intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, and then I'm calling this bridge number 1, but similarly to before, he breaks the energy down by going to a minimal drum set, and then the whole progression changes. Instead of doing a 5-6-4 or a 6-4-5 or a 1-4-5, now we have this sort of descending motion where we have a 1, a 7, a 6, a 5, a 4, and the vocals are just setting us up, setting us up, setting us up. What do you think is going to happen at the end vocally? What do you think he's going to say?
Filthy rich up and down in a ditch, but I still come back for more, 'cause I still wanna know. Wanna touch, wanna feel, wanna taste, wanna heal, wanna turn at the wheel. Yeah, I still wanna know. Wanna ride, wanna drive, wanna laugh, wanna cry.
Did you hear that chord? That was different.
Yeah, I still wanna know. Wanna ride, wanna drive, wanna laugh, wanna cry, wanna dream day and night. Yeah, I still wanna know.
Okay, so he throws in a chord that kind of doesn't belong. The whole song's in major, and there's this first moment where, hey, that doesn't quite sound major. And it's not. And that's also interesting. All of this is setting us up for what I think is eventually going to be the big chorus payoff, and I think it's right here.
And yeah, I still wanna know. I've been around the world. I've gone from bad to worse. I heard them tell me to let go. Yeah, I still wanna know.
So, the theme here, even sections, intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, or some kind of breakdown. Second time through, intro, verse, pre-chorus, some kind of breakdown. Finally, we get the big chorus. Now, not for nothing, in pop, to have to wait 2 minutes, this is roughly about 2 minutes of time, that's a long time to wait for the big chorus payoff. So there's a lot of building, pushing, telling story, and whammo, finally we get the chorus. Okay. Coming out of the chorus, I call this thing a post-chorus because it's not quite the same as before. In the first round, we had intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then back to intro, which was the 1-4-5. Second time through, we had short intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, breakdown. We kind of expect to go back into the 1-4-5. We don't. We get into this chorus, which has kind of a stair-stepping upward motion. And then at the end of that, what's going on? it may be hard to hear, but what I'm hearing, this is one of those places where I'm not listening to the instruments, I'm listening to the progression. The progression we heard in this chorus here is the same progression we hear in the post-chorus. Maybe it's not a post-chorus at all, but there are no vocals, so I don't want to call it a chorus. And then we get into the solo, which also has no vocals, but is the exact same progression. So what's the point? The point is, it's a pop song that doesn't really do the pop format. It doesn't do intro, verse, chorus, and the chorus isn't that obvious. It does intro, verse, pre-chorus, something that sort of implies a chorus. Do that again, except instead of even implying the chorus, let's give them something different entirely. I'm like, where the hell's the chorus, for God's sake? It's 2 minutes in, finally I get a chorus. Yay! Big payoff moment. Let's hang out there for a while. So because it took 2 minutes to get there, he says, yeah, I'll leave you there. We can hang out there for a minute. 8 bars here, 8 bars here, 8 bars in solo. That's a good portion. Now, let's take a listen to what happens after the solo, which effectively is the chorus progression. Progressionally, or chord, or harmonically, it's a 3 and then a 4 and a 3 and a 4. We haven't heard that yet. So this is yet another section, yet another idea. There's a lot of little ideas in this song being fed to you. So let's listen all the way through. And remember in the other bridge, I said I wasn't even sure if it was a bridge, and there were 2 of them. This is the second, that was the first. Remember I pointed out and I said, hey, that chord doesn't belong. It's not like the others. Do you think he's going to do it again? Did you hear that chord that didn't belong? It kind of went like this. So you're getting the theme. He did something interesting over there. He's doing something interesting over here. These are both bridges, sort of. Now, what happens after that? We have that cool chord. We have that cool motion. Okay, now it's back to pop format. It's a real chorus, same as the other chorus. In fact, I'm calling it Jumbo Chorus because it lasts a good long while. In fact, it lasts a whole 16 bars. It's like a double chorus. So we know what this is going to do, and we'll take it to the end, extend it out. Hey, I got outro 1 and outro 2. Sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar? Why does that sound familiar? Right, because that's how we came into the song. So the song now has a nice big fat bookend. That's the first outro. Notice how he's quoting the title of the song. Still want to know, still want to know, still want to know, still want to know. Why'd you make 2 bridges? Still want to know. Why'd you make a breakdown that's a pre-chorus that's not quite a chorus? I still want to know. Here at the end of the song, why aren't you singing a chorus? I still want to know. Now we're in the intro again. Really, we're in the first pre-chorus, aren't we? It's a 1, 4, 5, 6. And to verify that, if we come back over to here, and we put up a little cycle. You see how the pre-chorus here at the beginning gets thrown all the way to the end, and the intro over here also gets thrown all the way to the end? This is really interesting. Like, these are not standard pop form song decisions, and yet they come from a very pop form song arrangement set of decisions. What I really dig about the song, besides the simplicity and Rivers' voice, which can really do no wrong in my opinion, it's a very simple song. It's very clean. It's very moving, and it builds in very interesting and unique ways. There's some harmonic interest in both of the bridges, a chord that sort of doesn't belong to just twist the audience. I like that he holds the chorus back. He's like, wait for it, I'm going to make you work for it. Nope, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Here. And then when he finally delivers the chorus, it's a big payoff. Really feels satisfying. So if you're writing, think about where are your sections? What might be thought of as verse? What might be thought of as chorus? Is there something that doesn't belong? Is it a bridge? Is it leading to something? Maybe it's a pre-chorus. Maybe it's a post-verse. The titles don't matter. It only matters how you think about it in terms of the behavior within the song. And as you're starting to get a little bit of a clue here, listening for the parts, what parts turn on, what parts change, do we change chords, do we change keys, do we add instruments, do we remove instruments? All of these decisions are part of the arrangement process, and it all comes from writing in a way that you have more than just one idea. And that's where people tend to get stuck. And if you're one of those people, reach out, book some time. Matt Donner here at Pyramind, Matt at Pyramind.com. Thank you again, as always. Thank you to RAC for letting us take a look at his album and this track in particular. It's a really, really good record. Don't know how to describe it. I know he's not from California. I don't think he lives in California, but man, this record just feels very California. A lot of really high quality vocal artists, guest artists, similarly to Madion's record, which we just came from. Highly encourage you to check it out, RAC. It's the latest release, 2017. Just a really, 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 really cool record. Simply put together, really well executed, really well produced, very, very warm, pleasing sounds, and some very interesting arrangements. Definitely worth taking a look. Ciao, and thank you, as always. Really appreciate everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
If you're a music producer, subscribe to our channel and stay up to date on the latest Pyramind tutorial videos, track breakdowns, elite sessions, and more. Visit us at pyramind.com.